What is up? Happy hump day. Welcome to another episode of The Talking Place. This is episode 9 or 10? 10? Maybe it's 10. Is it? I don't know. It's all right. Here's the deal. Here's what's going on behind the curtain. It's been a while. It's been a long while. Since doing this whole show thing on the regular, and I'm trying to keep it regular, trying to keep it weekly. Currently, I am in the middle of editing another show, and I'm recording this show, and it's kind of teetering around. Which show is which and what number is what. So I honestly have absolutely no idea what episode number this is. It's either 9, maybe 10. It's not 11. It's not 11. So it could be either or. So we'll see whatever number this is that shows up on your player. That's the episode number. There you go. I hope you appreciate and enjoy this show, because this was a whole lot of fun to record. I had a blast talking with Al, and if you are not aware, Al, he is a fellow indie podcaster. He has his own show. Everything for him. If you go look in the show notes, you could find everything nicely linked and organized, where you could find him everywhere. But he co-hosts the Retro Rents podcast, and we were trying for a long time to get together and to record something and have something in the books and out there. And finally we did it. We secured a date, and we had we had a whole bunch of technical difficulties in the beginning, but we overcame it all, and here it is. Here's the fruits of our labor, and it's, like I said, it was a blast, and we talked about cartoons, 80s and 90s cartoons. We were more or less the same age, pretty much, give or take a year or two, and we grew up like many of you. Most likely, we grew up with all the same stuff, and it was just a lot of fun to go through and talk and reminisce about all those shows that we used to love as kids. And there was so many times where we could have just gone off and got onto so many other tangents regarding other shows, other movies, the toys. Forget about the toys. Could be its own show on its own for another 2 hours. We could talk about all the different toys that went with all these different franchises and stuff. But we refrained. We tried to keep it on track, and I think we did an okay job. There was a few times where we went a little off the rails, but it was good. It was all good. It was all fun. It was all, entertaining and something that I feel like, if I was listening to it, I'd be talking to myself, like trying to chime in on the conversation. That's the level of quality we got here. Maybe I'm a little biased. I don't know. But once again, I appreciate Al joining me and hanging out and talking and all that. And I hope you enjoy the show. So, and I also hope you enjoy the real Ghostbusters, because for some reason, like uncontrollably, we wound up talking about that for a good chunk of the show. So I hope you're a fan. That's all I have to say. So sit back, enjoy the show. Peace out. Have a good week and stay safe, please.
Oh, where did we leave off? I completely derailed this.
I don't know. I don't even think we started. All right. So welcome again. So I was taking this this opportunity to finally do research on the topic that we're talking about.
I heard your research as I was messing around.
Yeah, I got like a whole bunch of tabs open now that I'm like looking up all this stuff, and I'm trying to keep in mind that I'm not doing this for fun, that I'm actually like trying to find information and trying to look for stuff, and like I'm getting caught up in all of it, like, oh shit, I remember this. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so so hello there. Now that your mic is working, what is
Yes,
up?
hello again.
What would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah, we'll try that. I don't know if any of my intro caught, but I do a podcast called The Retro Rents. I'm Retro Rents Al. We talk about only modern stuff. I only kid. No, we like to talk retro too.
So there's I'm sure right now, I mean, I'm not that expanded as I would like to be, you know, so there's a lot of my audience that is basically your audience too. So, you know, it's like everybody probably knows you already, but maybe there's like one or two that don't. So
this is the crossover episode of the 80s, 90s cartoons.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that is a topic. That's what you know, I asked you what would you like to talk about, and I think right now where we're at with everything in life that's going on in the outside world, I think talking about 80s and 90s cartoons for about 45 minutes to an hour is something that we all need. So it's a good topic.
Yeah, I know I could use it. I don't know. Like I was even thinking about it today, where it's like, you know, maybe I'm just older or getting old, and you know, you know, having kids, I think you start thinking a lot more about the future. But I was just like, man, I miss those days. Like, where my most important thing was making sure I got off the bus and ran home as fast as I could so I would not miss the first 5 minutes of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, there's like you can't even describe the amount of love and passion that kids had for the cartoons and the shows that they loved to watch. You know, it's like one of those things that you just you think back on it, and there was nothing else in the world besides you and the TV. Yeah. You know, whenever you were watching something. And,
yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, I just turned 39. I don't mind dating myself, but I mean, you could see like my earliest formative years were in the 80s, and there was so much good stuff on. And like, again, we are in that weird breed of people that still we were there for the birth of the internet, but we very well remember what it was like without it. So it was like, you know, we didn't have a YouTube where we could literally type in whatever the hell you want to watch and you'll basically find it, you know. So it's like we were kind of at the whim of whatever was big on the networks. But what was so cool, and I think you'll agree, you know, when we were growing up, the video game, you know, genre is not even the word. I'm so burnt out, but yeah, like video games themselves were such a brand new thing. Like, you had arcades, but home video gaming with like the Atari. But Atari was great, but it really took off once Nintendo hit. Like, that's where you started getting characters and mascots, and like that. Like, when that started bleeding over into, you know, cartoons and culture, it was such a wild time to be alive. I mean, like, that's kind of where I would start. Like, if I think back to my earliest like cartoon memory that I really got into, and I think this was shortly before the Mario Brothers show, that came out was a show called Captain N, the Game Master. Do you remember this at all?
Yeah, I do remember it. I wasn't into it. Like I didn't watch it the way I watched other stuff. But I do remember it. I remember it existing and I
Mm-hmm.
remember watching like a few episodes, but it wasn't like one of my go-tos that I had regularly on.
Yeah, like for me, I was nuts about Nintendo. When that thing hit, it was like the greatest thing. And so when Captain N, the Game Master, came out, a very brief idea what this was. It was basically this kid in the real world who looked 35 in the movie intro. um, was like the best video game player basically, and he's in the middle of playing. I think it's like Bayou Billy, and all of a sudden, the TV goes fuzzy, and it's like the princess from Nintendo Land is like, "We need you to save us," and he gets sucked into the TV with his dog, and goes on adventures with like all the Nintendo heroes you can think of against all the Nintendo villains. There's like Kid Icarus and Mega Man and Simon Belmont are your good guys, and then you had like Donkey Kong and Dracula. It was just so damn good for the time.
Yeah, it was like Smash Brothers for a cartoon, just like everything.
Yeah.
In
That's
Yeah.
a really, really great analogy of it. Yeah.
there. Yeah.
What's your earliest one? Like, what's your earliest?
Oh man, it's like for me, well, my earliest cartoon memory, I guess it would have to be it's hard to like break down. Is it my earliest memory or is it like my favorite? You know, because I know.
Let's go with favorite.
Yeah, all right. So my favorite, like without even hesitating on it, is the real Ghostbusters.
Yes.
So so the real Ghostbusters, that was like my heart, man. There was nothing else.
I probably was. We were lucky enough to have a VCR. I think I had 4 or 5 VCR tapes full of recorded TV episodes of the real Ghostbusters.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it was so good. I loved it. And it's like where did you grow up again? Where was it?
I grew up in North Jersey. I spent my first
All right.
8 years there.
There you go. Yeah, cuz it's like for me, I don't know what it was. Like I felt like cuz I grew up in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
So watching the Ghostbusters on TV, it was like hometown kind of feel, you know? And it was always awesome to watch it and to get into it like that. And it was the same thing with the Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
You know? Because it was all right there, like right in my hometown where I lived, you know? So it's like it was a real deep connection for me. Like whenever I watched it and I got into it and everything. And I think that was a big reason why it was so like near and dear to me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was growing up, it wasn't until I got I got with my wife that we were dating, like not married yet, but like dating and living together. It wasn't until then that I got into Star Wars.
Wow.
And it wasn't until like a little bit before that or a little bit after that I like really got into Marvel and like, you know, comic book superhero kind of things, you know. So for a long time in my life, the only like real like superhero kind of personalities that I had, like, you know, the hero type person that you looked up to like that was the freaking Ghostbusters. You know, and it's like, and for me, you know, that it was a huge impact for me, and it was something that, you know, it resonated through a lot of my life, you know, just, you know, seeing the movies, watching the cartoon like crazy and everything. It was just like a huge part. And, you know, forget about, I don't know, I know we're going to stick to cartoons here, but we could have like an entirely different show full talking just about like the toys that came with it, with all the cartoons and shit.
Dude.
It's like, it's ridiculous. The amount
like
of stuff.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I don't think, if you didn't grow up at that point in time, I don't think people can understand or appreciate how freaking huge Ghostbusters was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the movie, and then you had the cartoon. It was everywhere. I mean, and it was awesome. Like, again, I loved it because, like, right before I had seen the movie, we had done like a class field trip to the Bronx Zoo, and we went right by the public library.
Yep.
And oh no, I had seen the movie already. So then I saw the lions, and I was like, "Oh crap!" Like I got scared. But like, I remember, and I still say, my dad would have been a millionaire. Like right when the movie came out, he made my cousin and I homemade Ghostbuster packs.
Oh man!
Like he cut like the cardboard box to look like the pack. Used a like washing machine hose for the the thing, and made like a little cardboard gun on it. Made us traps, and then even sent us to the neighbor's house to ghost hunt. Which, looking back, he must have really enjoyed that hysterically when we weren't watching. But yeah, I mean the toys. When you talk toys, it's like going on another one of your favorites, which was a staple of mine at that age, was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
Oh my god! Like I remember having the toys, and that was another one. Like it's funny. I went to my parents' house a year or so ago. Because like there are still boxes of my shit in their basement, and when I get to a point where I'm like, where did I put that? And then I go over there, and it's like I found my box of recorded Ninja Turtle tapes.
Oh, nice!
Like that was another one, man. I never missed it.
Yeah, I know Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters. That holds up. Like for me.
It's dark too.
Yeah, it gets pretty freaking scary. Like it was on Netflix for a while, and I remember like seeing that on there when it came on, and I was like, "Well, sorry kids, this is all you're gonna be watching now. This is it." So like they got into it for a while, and they were watching it, and it was like it got to a point where like I was listening, like doing stuff around the house, and it sounded like so like dark and demonic sometimes. Like it was I want to say it was the Sandman, was it?
Yes. Oh my god, I remember that episode.
Yeah, like it's something that like I'm surprised like that stuff didn't give kids nightmares back then. Like it's not really something you see in cartoons now, and that's saying for a lot of
Sure.
A lot of the stuff that we grew up with. You don't see it nowadays, and it's a lot more laid back now than what it was back then.
I kind of miss it though. Like I had nightmares from the Headless Motorcyclist episode. I still remember it.
Yep. It was. I remember that one. I remember the Sandman was bad. And I remember. I forgot his name. The one from Halloween with the pumpkin head.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Yeah. It was. It's ridiculous, man. How crazy.
Yeah, and they went deep too. I remember like they got into some deep stuff on that show, and I'd say the same thing with like Ninja Turtles. Like there was an episode of that stuck with me where it was like they wondered like what the world would be like without him. They just wanted a day off, and like they woke up in this waking dream because I guess Splinter got them high or something, and like Shredder had taken over the world, and it was just like that's touching on a really deep subject, for the audience. Just they don't do that much anymore, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. There's some good cartoons out now that, I'll sit there and I'll catch myself watching. But it's like it's as far as like subject matters and things like that,
Yeah,
there's no comparison. Look, let me see.
yeah.
Is this one who I was thinking?
I forget what it
This
was
is the
called.
Sandman. Let's see.
Sandman helps people sleep. A Sandman makes dreams. And I am now the ultimate Sandman.
Like, that's some creepy shit.
That is creepy. Oh, and again, like even the graphic style of that cartoon,
Yeah.
the darker, muted colors. Like really go back and look at it. The real Ghostbusters was such a great tie-in to an already great movie, and it was like just giving you more of what you loved about that movie. Even at my age, where I didn't understand 99% of the jokes in it, which I adore now.
Yes, I know, right?
I mean, how many of your friends have you gone to? It's, yeah, you're right. She's a dog. No, but that cartoon that was another one that was on my list because it's just one that still strikes a very vivid memory for me. I can still remember episodes or even lines from it, like some episode where they were in a zero gravity thing, and I just remember Ray saying, "Oh, I wish I'd have taken those swimming lessons instead of clarinet." Like, I still remember stuff from that.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, that's a great one. I mean, they I would say the 90s still stayed on some of the dark stuff. They definitely made things that were, for a bit of an older audience, and I wouldn't say Captain N was my number one. That was the earliest I can remember. Yeah. But if I had to put a number one on my list to where I have DVDs, like, and they're all crap releases because they've never done an official re-release. And I actually know because I talked to the lead writer on our show. We interviewed Christy Marks. Mm-hmm. But Conan the Adventurer, or Conan the Adventurer. I know people hate that pronunciation. It was a 1992 that came out. I was in middle school at the time, or just going into middle school. And they made, I want to say there was like 40 episodes, 50 episodes. To give you an idea, the lead writer on it who wrote it, Christy Marks, was the lead writer in like, push to talk doesn't work well in docs. She was the lead writer and creator for Gem and the Holograms. She was a writer on G.I. Joe, Real American Heroes, and also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
She did comic scripts with Jack Kirby. She's got a wicked resume, and just a really awesome person to talk to. But with Conan, they had a really unique challenge because if you've ever read any of the books or even the amazing comic books people have done over the years of Conan the Barbarian, they're dark. Like that's some mature content, but they really found a way to make it work and still have that sense of adventure. I mean, they created some new characters for it and toned down a lot of what would be blood and womanizing, although they still had a little bit of that in there too. But it was a really fun take on the Conan mythos. And when it came to the key points of like a lot of the big Conan stories, like Conan and the Frost Giant's daughter and the Star of Shahrazad, and again, things that if you've read the comics, you'll recognize those. And they told the stories fantastically. The animation was great. And it was one of the only series I remember that actually ran to a sort of completion, and they had left it off to like possibly having another season. I wish they would have, because the story had just gotten to a really cool point where like he had basically resolved all of his, main challenges. His family got turned to stone. He turned it back. It's hard to get a hold of, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling too much, but yeah, you can find it online. It's, if you like Conan, the character, obviously take it with that it was toned down for a teenage audience, but still fantastic telling of pretty much the whole Conan mythos. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I was never into that. But when you were telling me that was your top pick, and that it excites me because there's such a broad range of like so many cartoons. Like even I was like looking up, I was trying to research stuff and see what was around, like what's something I could have missed when I was thinking about it or whatever. And there's so many like crazy, like obscure, popular as hell cartoons that I never watched, but so many people remember them like so fondly, and it's like it seems like Conan's one of them, or
Oh, is it really? I was going to say throw one at me because I'm not.
Yeah.
I would love to. I have a weird. It's like the weird side obsession that like I kind of keep to myself. Like I like going back and watching a lot of that stuff from that time for kind of the reasons we talked about. Some of it's darker. The animation was unique for the time because I mean it's again I feel so old saying this and stupid, but like everything they do today it's computer generated and animated, whereas like TMNT and the real Ghostbusters, like, that was hand drawn, freaking beautiful art. Like looking back at it, like an awesome animation.
Yeah, it was. It's that there's so much now. Like there's cartoons getting pumped out. Like it seems like every month that there's something new and different that's being like introduced. And it's like back then, like it took a lot more to get stuff out, and it's like I don't know. We watched everything that we could watch, everything that we wanted to watch, and we never thought about it. We just like I don't even remember back then caring at all anything about like what season what was and how many episodes were in this season or whatever. It was like you just watch it. If it's a rerun, you're still watching it. You don't care, you just you know it. It's like you get excited. You're like, oh, I remember this one. I like this one, and
like, oh man, you're bringing up so many things that just tickle the nostalgia. But like, I mean, Christ, if my daughters can watch the same freaking episode of The Sharers and Daddy just wants to throw himself through a window.
Oh my God, that is the same thing, isn't it? That's pretty much like the same crap. Like
it is, but ours was better. I'll be that old
it's
guy.
So much better. There's no comparison, but just to try and relate it to nowadays,
But I guess to your point though, we didn't have the dearth of content that people do today. Like when a new cartoon was released, it was a big deal. Like they advertised it and you were like, oh, I don't even know what this is, but I'm going to check it out. Or to the brilliance of the writers, and this goes for TMNT, this goes for Conan, pretty much everything we've discussed, like even with Ghostbusters, like to give you an idea, like for people listening who are younger than us, like how pervasive Ghostbusters was in our culture at the time. And this is basically like anybody in the 80s and 90s in the US. You didn't have to see the movie. You didn't have to see the cartoon to know what Ghostbusters was about. Like that's how pervasive it was. But to their credit, and to a lot of the writers' credit at the time, and you kind of got to this point too, where it's like you could jump in at any point during any season. And a lot of these episodes were mostly standalone, but kind of had throwbacks, but like they did it in such a way where you had an idea of who each character was, even if you'd never seen it before. You get an idea for like, oh, this character is like the Brute, and this girl is the badass ninja girl, and like, just using Conan as an example, but they were so standalone you could jump in at any time. but there was still a continuity. Like, I don't know how I would even do that as somebody who likes to write things. Like, that would be such a challenge, but they did it. And I think that's what made a lot of these so memorable to so many people, because it was just like, you know, X-Files Monster of the Week in a way for, you know, most of these shows. And it just worked. I mean, maybe, I don't know. But, man, like, my wife was rattling stuff off, and I was like, and I was like, man, like, I remember these, and I was like, this is why, like, I'm really glad to be a dad of 3 daughters, because, like, I'm getting exposed to stuff that, you know, growing up, and again, this was the culture at the time, you know, things were just, oh, this is a boys show, and this is a girls show, and nothing to do with parents. Like, it was the way it was advertised.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
You know, but, like, my wife's going, yeah, My Little Pony, Gem, Rainbow Bright, like, bam, 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 bam. And I'm like, yeah, those were huge. Like, it's just, what a wild time to grow up. No kidding.
Yeah. There's no way you could compare anything, you know. And I remember there was a time where like I was just with my wife, like, you know, dating or whatever, and like it came in my head, like, like all the movies we have together, like everything that we have, like, you know, physically on DVD and stuff like that, like how much I want to preserve, you know, for my kids. And this was like at a time where where there was no thought of like streaming services or whatever, because like, basically that's where everything is now. So like all the DVDs and stuff are all like old news, like you don't really need them anymore anyway. But like there was that, and then I was thinking about how awesome it would be like to have like this collection of all the old cartoons from like when we grew up. And like I would tell myself, like, when I have kids, I'm gonna have them watch like all the old stuff. You know, like, you know, put in tapes and have them watch whatever it is, like, you know, that I grew up with and everything, so that they could see like all the awesome stuff that I saw when I was a kid and everything. But it's like now, if I'm lucky that they enjoyed the real Ghostbusters. Because there's a lot of stuff that I really like, that I loved when I was a kid, that I would put on, like, look, watch this, and it wouldn't last 5 minutes because they'll be bored, or it'll look really old, you know, and it's like they can't do that, they can't process it.
It's a weird thing for me, because I was much more Tyrion Lannisterly devious with my kids as they were little. Obviously, you know, Sesame Street is a big one in our house. All 3 of my kids just loved it. Yep. But then, like, I would sit, you know, with my daughters when they were really, really young. I mean, they're still young. I don't have one over 10 yet. But I would be like, oh, here's one of Daddy's favorite cartoons. And we're watching, like, The Real Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And my youngest is now obsessed with Pooh Bear. Loves it. I haven't had as much luck on other things, but as you were saying, and I swear Netflix did this to taunt us, because it was only very temporarily, but around the same time The Real Ghostbusters was on Netflix, they had all the Mario Brothers cartoon episodes. And
I know that's still on there. I know.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I saw the other day, I think my oldest put it on or something. Like I heard it in the house. And I
wonder if they still have like the openers with Captain Lou.
Yes. Right? I remember that. I don't know if I don't think those are there, because I remember I would turn it on so they could watch it, and it would go, you know, hey, paisanos, it's the super, and that's where it would start. So, but I remember not too long ago, my middle, it's still hard not to call him the youngest.
I hear you there.
Yeah. my middleest he was watching some stupid YouTube crap, and they were saying, "Excuse me, princess."
Oh,
and then he was watching it. They were saying it so much, he was saying it. So he was like running around the house for everything that was going on, like whatever his brother would say to him. Or, "Excuse me, prince." And I looked at him. I'm like, "Where'd you get that from?" YouTube. I'm like, no.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
Sit down.
Yep, exactly. I put it on. I knew it was on Netflix. I put it on Netflix, and I just like looked for one of the Zelda cartoons in the Super Mario Brothers show. And got him to, I found the spot where he said it, and he was like, "That's where that's from." And it's like, you don't know, kid. You don't know nothing.
Oh man! Now here's the bonus though. Do your kids, have they played Zelda? Do they understand like Link and Zelda?
Man, they are all over that. They Breath of the Wild, like they have over 100 hours in them. Like it brings a tears of joy to me.
You're doing it right, man. Doing it right.
And it's like my oldest, he'll get into some other Zeldas too, and he really adventures into whatever like he'll get into. And the other one too, the middle one, he would try it out and get into it, but if it's like something that's like too hard, too engaging, like too much, like step by step, like he would get turned off by it. But Breath of the Wild, it's like it's so open and it's so easy to jump into and just do stuff, so he's been playing that forever.
Yeah. I mean, that's, you bring up a really good point with a lot of the older stuff. Not to too far off topic, but yeah, I tried to introduce my kids to a lot of the older stuff first, and they like it. Yeah. But their main criticism, like they would play the original Mario, but this is so hard. And I'm like, well, yeah, there's a reason that is, because unlike Mario Brothers was different, but most of these Nintendo games didn't have much to them, and if they weren't hard, you'd beat them in 2 hours. But no, that's just thinking of Zelda. I think what really got them into the Mario Brothers Super Show for quite a while, they were watching that quite a bit, was kind of like you were saying, they got into like Mario Odyssey and all those games, the newer ones, and I was like, well, there's a cartoon of this, and there's a cartoon? and that was it. Like the games are reintroducing them to the stuff that we grew up with. Yep. And like they dug it. They were real into it for a long time until the sharers came along.
Yep. I know that pain. But yeah. So it's I feel like we could just make this all about Ghostbusters, because there's stuff that I keep on thinking about, and it's like, okay, I gotta get away from Ghostbusters.
Well, I mean, we could call this 80's 90's cartoons / Ghostbusters than everything else. I'm all about that, because that was great.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's a phenomenon. I love it. But whatchamacallit? Did you? It's not a cartoon, since I brought it back again.
No, please.
It's not a cartoon, but did you ever see the 70's like real live action Ghostbusters show?
So not only had I seen that, but do you know there was a cartoon based on that?
Yes.
Right before. Okay.
Yep, that's the one. That was my first Ghostbusters that I saw.
Mine too.
Yeah. And
Tracy the monkey, Jake and Eddie. I still remember it.
I remember the theme song. I remember the freaking car. I had the toy of the car.
So did I. What was it? Chibi?
Yeah, it was. I know exactly what it looks like. And it had
had a weird face on it in the front.
Yeah, the ghost face, and then it was like a red color.
Oh my god! I still remember the enemy. The enemy was Primeval.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Damn.
But yeah, that was I think that was the reason why the real Ghostbusters was called the real Ghostbusters.
100%. They ran
Yeah.
into a copyright
Yes.
infringement. There's a whole like story of that lawsuit, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that was like, I know that was in my head somewhere. I just was trying to remember if it was from that or from the movie, but yeah, it was from the filmation. Is that what it's called?
Filmation, correct. Yeah.
Yep. It's all in my head. It's all in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's still in my head from Wikipedia wonder holes that I get into at older jobs that just killing me slowly. But I just that was another one I remember recording on VHS. I got again that's going back probably. I probably did myself an injustice saying Captain N because that was probably late 80's. But the real Ghostbusters, if I had to think the oldest cartoon, or not the real Ghostbusters, but the original Ghostbusters cartoon, that would probably be my earliest because I was little for that one. But that's another one like I distinctly remember was also pretty dark.
Yeah,
like there were some. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot where, but I remember turning it on, watching something of it. I don't know if it was streaming somewhere. I'm not sure, but I remember watching. Maybe I looked it up on YouTube or something. I started watching like old episodes of it. But yeah, it was very cheesy, very it was very different.
It might have been dark just to my probably then 4 or 5 year old mind. Now that I look back on it.
But yeah, so putting the Ghostbusters aside, because that's, like I said, that could take up the whole thing. And I'm sure that there's other people that like, they're 80s, 90s cartoon, and then they get sucked into Ghostbusters for an hour. But so like I said, it was Ghostbusters for me was top, and then after that was Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles, it was for the same reasons, kid growing up in New York, and they were basically my superheroes, and it was
totally,
they're the reason why I have such a deep love and passion for pizza.
Yes, 1000%.
Still to this day, so, and I remember as a kid, driving around, Manhattan with my parents, and, there would be, on cold winter days, there would be steam or whatever coming from the sewers. And my dad used to say the Ninja Turtles are making pizzas down there.
Oh, what an awesome dad.
And it was it was like, it's so awesome. It was like such another level of like awesomeness, like being able to watch all those cartoons and stuff, and then like, go and walk around the streets of New York and think about it and all that. So,
well, and also throw in like the very real, like people get this today, like when you see something, on TV that you see every day, like when you're watching something like Ninja Turtles and like in the background is like a New York landmark that you walk by every day, you're like,
yeah,
I know where they're standing. Like, I know where this is.
Yeah.
Even though, obviously it's an animated approximation, but like it connects you in a way that not a lot of things can. And I think that was, when it came to the Ninja Turtles, like I was lucky enough as a kid in North Jersey, my aunt and uncle took me to New York quite a few times to shows or just to see the city. They were a little bit better off they were a lot better off than my parents were, but they were cool about like, hey, can we take them to the city for the weekend and show them some stuff? And like I saw Les Mis when it was on its first run, and Phantom of the Opera.
Man.
Dude,
that's another show. That's
we got to do that show because I'm telling you, like, oh my god, I still listen to that to this day.
So you're a theater nerd, you freaking
1000%, dude,
man.
Hardcore.
I'm telling you, it's like there's a cloth out there that we were both cut from, the same one.
I know. Does your wife know about us?
No. Well, she's gonna know now. There's no hiding it anymore.
Oh, Mrs. Lewis. No, no, but like there really is something that I think a lot of these cartoons did in a way to connect you to the place. And like since we're on the Turtles, like, do you remember, because I can still remember the feeling I had in my gut when my dad took me to the theater to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the movie.
Yeah. Yep. My cousin, or my sister rather, my older sister, she took me to go see him. And it's like, that memory of that was something else.
Like, that is there weren't many things that went cartoon to movie, and if there were, they were hot garbage.
Yeah.
But that one, and I watched it, I want to say a year ago. And I mean, aside from like the 80s and, early 90s slang, like obviously you're like, glad I don't say that anymore. But other than that, like, that was a really well done movie for the time. And like, I just remember, because when that came out, like, we were at an age, I was at an age where I was like, all right, like, how are they going to do this? Like, this is doing this in real life. Like, I know what the cartoon looks like. How the hell are they going to pull this off? Yep. But they did it. And it, oh God, like, that was another phenomenon. Again, it was like, bringing it back to Ghostbusters, but it was like Ghostbusters where you didn't have to have seen the show or read the. I didn't even know there were comic books of it until I was much older.
Oh,
and
man, yeah.
I ordered the hell out of those and read them, but you didn't have to know. Like, it was just everywhere, and you could jump in. Oh, that's Raphael. He's the redhead band dude, and like you just, it was so approachable because it was so huge, and like that. I would say even more than Ghostbusters was. Like, you couldn't spit in the wind without hitting a Ninja Turtle figure or some kind of advertisement. I have so many fond memories of that one. That was a great show, and it feels like it went on forever.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. I've seen the seasons on sale sometimes. A few years ago, maybe they were in stores like I think Walmart would have them like a season for like $10 or something like that. And I don't know. There's something, like, I tried watching them, and it doesn't hold up for me like the way the Ghostbusters hold up. Like, there's a lot of I guess nuances is the word to say for it. I'm glad I'm not the only one. And
no, it's like, I will actually come back to this in your Discord channel one day, because I really want to think about why it doesn't hold up for me the way Ghostbusters does. Yeah. But I can tell you why Ghostbusters still holds up. And that is, it tapped into, obviously, the very human nature of the paranormal.
Yeah.
And what comes next. Obviously, we get into a whole fucking conversation, like deep conversation on sorry for language. But like that's what really made Ghostbusters intriguing. and still makes it great to this day, is it just takes that question and says, okay, yeah, what if there is something after, and it just wants to scare the crap out of us and haunt us, and like, these are your only bastion from the big bad Sandman. And like, it's a very relatable thing. Whereas Shredder the biological terrorist, while modernly poignant, I don't know, like, and again, like, Ghostbusters didn't have all the slang and cowabunga and like, it's like Keanu Reeves could have totally done the voiceover. And maybe that's what gets, like, I love him, I adore him, but like, there are times where I'm just like, man, there's something about this guy, and I think it is the fact that he just came out of that cartoon and never left. But yeah, no, it's funny you say that because I did try and watch a few today. I tried to watch one or two on my lunch break. I'm just gonna keep my memory of it. And
yeah, that was like the same thing with me. I remember it was like where the heck was it? I know it was not like streaming anywhere. I think I want to say I bought a DVD of it.
Yeah.
Or a Blu-ray of it or something. Like they had it wasn't like a complete season. It was like a best of season or whatever.
Right.
And I bought it like with the intention of like like all excited, like, oh, I'm gonna sit down with my kids, I'm gonna watch this with them and they're gonna love it, and we're gonna eat pizza and it's gonna be great. And I remember
record scratch.
It's like I was watching, I was like, this isn't my fucking Ninja Turtles. What happened? Where did it go? And it's just like one of those things, like, you know, it's like you loved it very, very much, and you loved it like so hard, and it was not the same. It just nostalgia, just like sometimes it hits you with a backhand pretty hard, and a
metal bat right after you recover. It made me sad in a way because I got spoiled by the Conan experience. You know, it was probably right before we had our first kid. I had bought a DVD reprint of a handful of episodes from the season, and I was scared to death to put it in. I was like, I have so many good memories of this, but I sat there on the couch for about 3 hours watching the entire thing, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it's a little cheesy because it's toned down, and there's some moments where you're like, ugh, but all in all, I'm like, no, this was still a really, really good show. I did not have that experience today.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I'm glad I did not invest in like actual seasons of it.
Yeah.
The real Ghostbusters, I'd
buy that in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, exactly. That is a worthy investment. But Ninja Turtles is gonna have to live in my mind very, very fondly. And the thing is too, I don't know, I forgot what show it was. There's a show, maybe it's Netflix, it's probably still on there somewhere, where the guy, he's a toy collector.
The Toys That Made Us.
Is it The Toys That Made Us? Because I think so. That's what popped in my head. I don't remember if that was like the actual show where the guy is like collecting the toys and talking about how much they're worth, or if it was just like, you know. Right,
I think that's it.
So so yeah, whenever like I watched a few episodes of it, and he would go through Ninja Turtle stuff, and I swear every single toy that he would pull out that was Ninja Turtles, I had it.
Same here.
And he'd be like, oh look, this is new in a box and it's worth about like $800 now. Like, screw you, man.
Oh,
damn
dude.
It's like, and it was for everything, every single thing. Like he would pull out for Ninja. He'd always make it very clear that Ninja Turtles was like one of the top properties to like have toys for that are still like in good condition.
Yeah, I have regrets like that too. My dad and my uncle, and I they must have pulled together some bucks back in the day when I was a little kid. But I had both the G.I. Joe and the Cobra base.
Oh, nice.
But I thought it would have been a great idea when I was like 10 or 11. I was into shooting pellet guns.
Oh.
And I thought it would just be so cool to be able to like test my marksmanship with GI Joes and set them up with the bases. And, oh boy, yeah, that's a whole nother sad story. But no, like I remember we used to use the party wagon. Was it the party wagon pizza thrower?
Yes. Yep.
We used that to do American Gladiators in our hallway. Another 80s, 90s show.
Yes.
If you can make it over the pillow barrier and throw the scrunchie at the target on the wall and not get hit by the pizza, you won.
Holy crap, that sounds amazing. Oh, man. Wow. That sounds great. I love that.
I don't know. It was a hell of a time to grow up, man. Like,
yeah.
I you know, I'm sure everybody has that kind of thing, but like, I've said it on the show. Like, I remember connecting to BBSs and crap. Like, I could go on a whole thing about the pre-internet, like dawn of the internet age that I got to experience. I was just lucky to know the right people and whatnot. But when it comes to just cartoons, like, it's just, there's something to me with the cartoons that we watched that, like, the storylines were good. Maybe not so on the Ninja Turtle side. I was just doe-eyed for the toys, I guess. But with the other stuff, like, especially, again, Ghostbusters really stands out. I was so happy when you said that, because it was like, I had a real hard time not putting that in my number one. Because if for no other reason than, aside from Conan, where I can remember practically, you know, entire episodes, that was another one where I can still remember lines. I can still remember, and you know, the ghosts that were in it, and just so many details are still vivid in my mind. And I probably haven't, you know, until today, or we'll say, I think when it was on Netflix too. Obviously, I watched it then, but until then, I hadn't seen it in over a decade.
Yeah,
and I can still remember it. Like. I can't say that about a lot of the crap I used to watch.
Like, I could still, like, for Ninja Turtles, right? When I watched that like the 10 minutes of that one episode that I put on, like,
the best part was the intro.
Yes. Oh man, when I put that on and I like heard them,
yeah,
it was like totally new to me. Like I did not remember them at all. Like nothing from it. They sounded totally different to me, you know, and it was like it hurt. But like Ghostbusters, like now, like just thinking about it right now, like I could hear all their voices in my head. Like all of them, all the ghosts. I could hear Janine in my head. I could hear like Slimer's mumbling.
Slimer, yeah,
I could hear all that. It's like it's in there. It's ingrained, and
yeah, that's just so wild. You said that.
Yeah, this is the Ghostbusters show, I guess. Whatever, I don't care. So.
Well, the only defense I would give, at least in the Ninja Turtles, the only one whose voice still sounds familiar to me is a voice actor I've kind of obsessively followed since, and it's Cam Clark, who did the voice of Leonardo. If you play games, he was Liquid Snake in Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
So, like, the next time you play Metal Gear Solid, the original one, you'll hear Leonardo in your head now. But he has done an insane amount of voice acting from then till now, and like I can catch his voice in anything. And when I watched today, I was like, yep, that's just a younger Cam Clark, but it's Cam Clark. The rest, I'm with you. I was like, I just remember them like, ugh, dude, yeah. I'm like,
yep.
I'm like, no, that's not what I'm hearing right now.
I'll tell you what though, there's been for Ninja Turtles, this is not 80s or 90s, but there's been a very, very good, hefty handful of like different variations of.
I'm gonna have to check it out
of the Turtles over the years, you know.
Yeah.
There's been on USA Network, there's been Cartoon Network, there's been like a whole bunch. It's like every 2 or 3 years there's a revamp of the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And right, I think the latest one is freaking horrible. Like it's
Oh, son of a bitch.
it's bad. It's like the way they look, like even just looking at them, like, okay, here's the new Ninja Turtles cartoon, and I just looked at it, I was like, nope. I was like, that's not gonna fly. And from what I heard too, like it's actually not good, like not even considering how they look, you know. So
Yeah, it's just worse.
yeah, it's just bad. But
Can you give me 2 seconds? I think I hear a baby crying.
yeah,
2 seconds.
No problem. Go.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah. Let's see what we have here. All right, so while Al is gone, let's get some copyright infringement going on.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power. They're the world's most fearsome fighting team.
We're really hip.
They're heroes in the half shell, and they're green.
Hey, get a grip.
When the evil Shredder attacks, these turtle boys don't cut 'em no slack. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Splinter taught them to be ninja teens.
He's a radical rat.
Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines.
That's a fact, Jack.
Raphael is cool but rude.
Give me a break.
Michelangelo is a party dude. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power.
Oh, what a time to come back to. Oh,
Right,
man.
so like I was saying,
So avoid the latest Ninja Turtles, huh?
yeah, the latest one, not good. It's not appealing. But there was one I want to say is the one before it. Let me see.
I was gonna say, if you could find that just
Yeah.
to give me some hope after what I saw today, that my mind is just not making this whole thing better than it was. I'd love to watch it.
Let me see. All right. While I'm looking for that, did you ever see the Ninja Turtle movie TMNT?
The newest one?
No, it's not. It's a few years back.
Yeah, no, all right, I should say, not the one we saw growing up. No,
No,
I heard it was good though.
Yeah, I think it's been on Netflix a few times. I want to say maybe it's still there. Maybe it's still, I don't know. But it's really good. Is
it really?
Yeah, it's ridiculously good. Like from what my opinion, like, being, I think I've made it clear like how much I love Ninja Turtles.
I'm with you. You got me
so,
excited now. I think I know what I'm doing when we get off of here.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I want to say I saw it in the theaters when it came out. It caught me like by huge surprise. Like, it's just like, the voice acting, the action, and all that, and even the freaking story, like it was all like top notch.
You have no idea how excited I am right now, because I am desperate for some kind of thread that shows, wait, why was I so in love with this after what I just watched at lunchtime? No, I'm gonna check that out then, because I heard that when it came out, when I was working at a previous job. A lot of my coworkers were of similar age to me, and they were all like, "Oh, this is the one you got to go see. Like, this brings it all back, and it's great, and it's fun." And I was like, "All right," and I never did. So now I'm like, I kind of have to. I really have to, just to recover.
Yeah, you do. I mean, it is a very a very rewarding movie for a Ninja Turtle fan. Like it's
fun.
It's a good watch. It's fun. There you go. That's the thing. For the animated series, I found here finally. Let me see. It looks like there's 4 of them. I would have said there was more, but it feels like there's more. So the latest one is Nickelodeon, and that's the one to avoid.
I could understand that.
That's from 2018 to 2020. So that's a no-go. There's another one. Nickelodeon did this one too, and it ran from 2012 to 2017.
Wow.
So
okay.
that's the one that I really dug. That's a good one. So go, give that one, look that one up, find that one, and you'll get into it. Like that's the one that my kids started watching, and like that I was like really getting into when they were watching it, and I was like, holy crap, this is pretty freaking good. It's
that's awesome.
The voice acting's good. It's funny, it's witty, and it's like it's charming, like, for the characters, like, how they interact, and everything like that. And it's good stuff. So
no, I'm excited to check it out, because like if there was a couple things like I was really excited about when we talked about getting together for this, and the first was just going back and looking at all the stuff that I really used to enjoy, and that was like my first question was, does it still hold up? And this was like, I have to say, TMNT was the heartbreaker for me. Like everything else, I'm like, yeah, it's a little cheesy, but I can still watch it. And Real Ghostbusters, I was like, yep, this is just as good as I still remember it to be. Like, yeah, you gotta have grown up to get some of the jokes, but it's freaking great. And then like I got to TMNT, and Los, like, if you could have seen how excited I was, like, it would have been like, I'm finally going to the Bronx Zoo, and I'm gonna finally see my first chimpanzee, what we came from, and it threw shit in my face. And like I was so let down, and I was just like I went into it going, I don't think this is gonna hold up well. Just because I remember the dialogue, and I was just like, and the one I watched was one I remember my mom bought me from like whatever was the equivalent of a Rite Aid or a CVS in the early 90s, late 80s. Might have been a Rite Aid or CVS. And it was a VHS called Attack of the Killer Pizzas. And that's the one I watched today, and I was just like, oh, I hope this is one of the worst ones. And I watched the one where, they had wondered what the world would be like without them, and I was like, all right, this one's, I only got like half of the douche chills of the last one. I'm like, so maybe I just got to find the right one. And then I watched one where like they were in April's apartment, and like one used too much bubble bath and flooded the place. And I was like, oh God, oh no. So like it was a letdown for me today. I was so geared up to like come on and be like, yo, TMNT was so great. And I watched it, and I'm like, how am I going to approach this? So you paved the way for my unabashed shame. So well, I'm excited to watch something good in that series.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that, just didn't feel it anymore, because it's like, this is one of those topics, like people our age, like where we like type of people we are, like the geek nerd kind of
Totally.
gaming stuff. It's like old nostalgia type things. That's our street cred. You know, that's where we get, you know, our bonus points with our peers. You know, yeah. So it's like when you come out and say, "Hey, Ninja Turtles back in the day, that shit sucked." Like, you know, it's like it's one of those things. Like, it could go good or it could go really bad.
It could go real bad. Like, you could end up with a broken bone.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm sure out there too, there's others who feel.
Oh yeah, and all the power to you. Like, if that still clicks and you love it, like, I want that. Like, what I'm saying right now, I want that. Like, I wanted that so bad today. And like, you know, for me, especially, you know, if you listen to the retro rants, I tend to look back on a lot of old stuff that I played. And I'll tell you, like, yeah, in comparison to today, it sucks, but I still love it. And here's why. Like, I find 99% of the time, I will find more to love about something that I experienced, you know, growing up, even in the modern day. Like, I can appreciate where it came from. Mm-hmm. And there's something about it in me that I'll still love it. I'm a very positive person just because I enjoy positivity. Like, I love loving stuff. Yep. And like,
same.
Yeah, like, to me, like, it takes a lot for me to, literally took a lot for me to even say, like, yeah, like, I just found out today one of my dearest childhood memory staples sucked. Like, that takes a lot for me. And, like, I don't discount, like, the great times I had watching that growing up. Like, that was, like, pure escapism from, like, rough points, you know, like, we all have growing up. Like, it was something great to look forward to come home to. And I never missed an episode. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I had a stack of VHS tapes. I recorded every episode. And then when the newest one was over, I go to my room and rewatch half of them, you know, like, at night. Cause like, I'm very into TV, very into cinema, very into stuff like that, and entertainment and games. Always have been. Yeah. And like, that stuck with me my whole life. And like, it, you know, it was a big part of my life back then. But like, looking back, like, you know, it's part of what I enjoy talking about with a lot of people. But like, today was such a shocker to me. Like, I'm just like, I'm glad we're talking about this like on a totally honest level, because like, I was sitting there like, traumatized. I was like, am I old? Like, have I gotten to be my dad? Like, looking at this as he did back in the day, going, I don't fucking get it, and just walking off. Like,
it's like you feel like you've been lied to for a long time. And
yeah, the weirdest way. Like, you lied to me! God damn it, brain!
Well, look here. This. If you want to redeem yourself, go watch that movie. Go watch.
No, I'm literally going to do this tonight.
Like, I looked it up and it's I got it in front of me now. It's from 2007.
Okay.
And it's
if it's not on Netflix, is it on Prime Video? Like, can I buy it, watch it digitally tonight? Somewhere?
I'm sure you can. Okay. Somewhere. But it's like 2007 doesn't sound like it's a long time, but
hey, wait,
it's so
you're
long
talking
ago.
To somebody who still watches the Lord of the Rings appendices, who just bought the latest versions just so I could have it on the latest medium and watch it again. And then I cried when I realized the first one's over 20 years old.
Yep, it doesn't hit you until you actually do the math too, because like it's like you could look at it and you'd be like, oh, this came out at this year, whatever, you know, and then it's like you think, oh, that was just a few years. No, that was like 20 years ago. So yeah, that's the way time works, you know.
It is. So, but they rolled up way freaking better than the Turtles. Let me tell you.
Well, look. All right, 2007.
That's our next episode.
So, yeah, seriously, I would do that. I want to do that.
No, I'm gonna like I'm not saying this for the show. Like, it sounds so stupid, but it's like I really need a shot of. I need some good turtles. I need it now, and because I adored that probably as much, if not more, than the real Ghostbusters. And that was like my staple when I was a kid. Because Ghostbusters was everything. Like I said, we hunted our neighbor's house. And busted. Sorry, hunted is the new term. But no, I would love to see, because I think my own kids could get really, really into the essence of what the Ninja Turtles is. Like, just, somebody different than yourself being badass and being able to defend themselves and defend people that can't. Like, there was a lot of really good stuff in the mythos of the Turtles. So I'm like, yeah, I'm excited to watch something good after watching Attack of the Killer Pizzas. So let's do it. I'll watch that tonight, and I'll ping about it on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, all right. Here's some info on it. All right. So so it looks like it is available on HBO Max.
I have that. Perfect.
So it's there, and it is narrated. These are some names here. I had no idea that they were in it.
I might know, so please enlighten me.
So maybe this is why I thought it was so awesome, because of this cast. It's narrated by Lawrence Fishburne.
Wow, nice.
Let me see. We have
the red pill or the blue pill.
Yeah. The main villain is Patrick Stewart.
Nice.
Chris Evans, Captain America, is Casey Jones.
Wow, that's a great choice.
Raphael is our very own Nolan North.
Excellent, Nathan Drake. Love it.
Yep. And Leonardo is James Arnold Taylor. Do you know who that is?
James Arnold Taylor. Give me one thing.
He is Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars animated stuff like Clone Wars and various other things where Obi-Wan is animated and stuff. He does the voice.
So if you caught the retro rents, Nick is. I love Star Wars. Nick is hardcore Star Wars, and he has just now got me like convinced, ready. I'm planning this out. I am going to start watching Clone Wars, all of it. Like I'm going to go through it before I watch Mando season 2. I love Mando season 1. Loved it. But I'm going to go through and watch, because I kind of avoid the cartoons, because I remember when the first one hit, and I was like, he just power through. He's like, power through.
The Clone Wars cartoon, again, I guess we're staying with the cartoon. It's not 80's and 90's, but it's a cartoon, whatever.
It's a cartoon based on a 70's franchise. Yeah, that's fine.
The Clone Wars, it is like the best Star Wars like show. Like before The Mandalorian came out, it was like my number one thing, like for Star Wars.
Yeah, that's what Nick said.
It made the Clone Wars like my absolute favorite era of like the entire Star Wars like universe, like all the timelines and everything. The Clone Wars is my favorite time because of that freaking cartoon. And it is so good, so well done. And it's like for me, like the first season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, like that it's like some hard hitting like just story and character development and all that stuff, and like how you get just like this look at how Anakin was before everything and all that stuff, and like seeing him as a master to Ahsoka, and it's so freaking deep. It's awesome. Like it's my top freaking Star Wars thing.
All right. Well, I know what I'm watching after the Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah, there you go.
No, because like Nick is, again, if you listen to Retro Rants, I'm not even trying to do shameless plugs, but like I
No,
hate name dropping and not explaining who the person is. But
Yeah.
Nick is my co-host. He's my friend of almost 20 years. I met him when I did my first internship out of college, and we instantly connected on D&D and Star Wars. And like, I can't put to words how hardcore of a Star Wars fan he is. But he's not like one of those toxic fans. Like, he loved the latest 3 movies. There were flaws to him, but he's like, you know what? I'll take any Star Wars I can get.
Yep.
Like, that's the kind of fan he is. And he flat out said, like, Mandalorian is his favorite. But before Mandalorian, Clone Wars, and he said even Rebels, like,
Yes,
he said,
Rebels too.
he was like, they are amazing pieces of the Star Wars canon that you have to experience if you enjoy Star Wars. Like, he's like nuts about it, and he was like flipping out that like they've included that into the Mando canon.
Yes.
And I haven't read more into that other than like he's like, you don't have to, but if you really want to enjoy Mando season 2, he's like, go back and watch those. So I have not watched, haven't even started the second season, and I plan to go through those before I do. So
we are late on the second season. We still have 2 episodes left to watch. But I could tell you, like, just what I know of the Clone Wars, and from what I've watched so far of season 2 of Mando, it is, if you want to take the time to do that, to go through all of the Clone Wars and all that stuff and watch that before Mando, it is a huge payoff. Like, it would,
okay, that's all I need to hear.
Like, just, it makes it so like richer, like when you like, and it's not like crazy, like, every single thing is like a shout out, like, like a
no, but it's like the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 things that there are, it means that much more. I totally get that.
Yeah. And it's like, it's big things. There's some big, huge things that would directly like correlate, like, holy crap, that is the Clone War. That's from Clone Wars. Like, and there's people that they never gave Clone Wars time of day. They don't know about it. They don't know anything of it. And they'll watch it. They'll still enjoy the hell out of season 2 and everything. But the people who do know, it's forget about it. You're all giddy. Like, we watched the episode the other night, and they were doing what they were doing or whatever, and like they said something, they said a name, and I got like crazy excited. I was like, oh shit, and my wife was like, what's going on? and I told her, and it was like, she just like, I felt her eyes roll, but whatever.
But I know, I get that, because like, I again, like, Nick is in as deep, and being a writer, I obsessively read, and like, I'm on my 3rd reread of the Dresden Files right now, and like, I get that whole thing when, like, even if you pick up and it was a story beat that you really enjoyed from something that came before what you're watching or what, whatever, like, it gives it such a fabric and a substance, like, to the point literally, like, I was so excited for Mandalorian season 2. And then when Nick said that, he goes, well, have you seen Clone Wars? And I told him no, and he explained the same thing like you're saying. It's not constantly, it's not like, oh, it reminds me of that time, like Family Guy, with just random points in the past. But it's actual things that take something that's already great and add something to the deeper, the deeper substance, deeper fabric. Like, as somebody, like, I like to I haven't done it in so long, and FU COVID, that kills most of my motivation. But I write, epic fantasy, and I love to interlayer those things. And it's not even for anybody else. Like, I hope someday my stuff gets read by other people, but it's like, it's even little things for me to like, oh, go back and tie this together because it was important to the story. And like, as when I read or see things where the story writers do stuff like that, like I really appreciate that. Like I know where that comes from, and it's world building. It makes what you're watching like go beyond just the thing that you're watching. Like you're experiencing a mythos. It's what makes things like the Lord of the Rings so great today. Like where it's built a mythology on its own, and Star Wars is the same way. So when you catch things from earlier pieces that you watched, like again, using like the most current example, like in Force Awakens, when like Kylo Ren goes into his ship and you see the freaking Darth Vader helmet, like with scorch marks on it. Like, if you never saw the original movies, it wouldn't really mean anything. It doesn't affect your appreciation of the story if it's your first time experiencing Star Wars. But like growing up and knowing how the original trilogy ended, and you see that, you're like, oh my God, like it just brings it all like front and forefront. So yeah, like as soon as he said that, I was like, nope, I want to experience that. I want to appreciate that.
Yeah. That's the same way I am. It's one of those things that I love the building of a story, like you said, and it's one of those things that when you're watching it, you could get into it and you could love it and everything. And you hear it, all it would take is like one line to make you think, okay, so what happened there? What's up with that? Tell me, give me more detail on that. And it's like, I want that side story. I want that backstory. I want to know everything that's going on with that one character that did this one thing that one time and why it exploded into this whole big thing. That's what the Clone Wars is. Like that entire series, the entire freaking cartoon series, it's based off what it was A New Hope, right? Where Obi-Wan is talking to Luke. And he's telling him like, oh yeah, I fought with your father in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's getting me all giddy. It's like, you watch the show, you watch the Clone Wars, you get into it, you get all that in your head. And then if you go back to watch A New Hope, you're gonna like freaking break down and giggles like a little girl when he says, I fought with your father in the Clone Wars, because you're going to rewind in your head that entire series and you're going to think like all the stuff that Obi-Wan and Anakin did in the Clone Wars. And you're going to relive like all that character development, all the arcs, all the everything. And it's like, it's going to freaking hit you like a ton of bricks. And that's the awesomeness of building like all the stuff, all the backstories and
totally. No, totally. And in the weirdest way, like I think that's what separates the stuff we watched as kids to stuff like Clone Wars now. You could come into Clone Wars and you'll eventually get it, but like not seeing Star Wars, you're like, all right, this is cool. I think where the stuff we used to watch, it was easy to get into if you'd never seen it. You could jump in and you would eventually, you'd get an understanding and you wouldn't have the backstory. And now that I look at it, maybe this is what made what we grew up on weaker in a sense, is that it didn't really matter. Like it was just the action of the event at the time. And I think that's what I've really grown to appreciate in series based things, whether it's movies or cartoons. I've gotten a lot into, I love character building, but a show that can bring in good characters, but then build a whole world behind it, like that's something that, like, that's what really sticks with me. And Ghostbusters did that in the sense that you had the characters established with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the show fleshed out the world, and I think that's what made it great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and there was even the one episode. Was it the pilot episode?
I think it was the pilot. I think I know the one you're talking about.
Peter was being interviewed, and it took place after the events of the movie, and it tied everything in with the movie, and it was like. Peter was being interviewed over what happened with it all, and how it all went down and everything. And Peter's like there recalling the events and all that stuff. And then like the clothes that they wore during the whole Marshmallow Man thing. It got possessed by the stuff.
Gozer.
But yeah, it got possessed by Gozer, and like, the clothes came to life, and it was like actual Ghostbuster. Like, I'm explaining the entire fucking episode, and but that's that was like the big tie-in with the cartoon with the movie. And that pretty much bridged it together, saying like, hey, this is, if you like the movie, then this is the rest that you could enjoy and get into more.
Totally. No, I'm if that's not the pilot, I'd be shocked. But no, I remember seeing that because, again, I remember the advertisement for the cartoon and the whole thing. And the movies were still pretty fresh. So, but, with 80s, 90s cartoons, there was also one of the things where they like to start with like episode 2 or 3 and then do the original.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. But yeah, like I think, with everything we've talked about, like I've assigned myself homework where I want to watch more real Ghostbusters. I really do.
Yeah.
Like, I watched a little bit today, like I said, and I'm like, God damn, this still holds up. It's still great. And I can't believe my mother even let me watch this when she wouldn't let me watch Salem's Lot. But the miniseries from '79 that they played on TV. But I'm glad I'm not alone in the Ninja Turtles thing. God, I felt so bad. I'm like, how am I going to go in this 80s, 90s show and shit on the Ninja Turtles? But I have to. I gotta be honest. But I'm gonna go literally right now and cue that movie up, or as soon as we finish up, because like I need a recovery. I need a positive shot on Turtles.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what you think about it, because I feel like I'm gonna go watch it now too, because I'm all hyped up for it. But it's coming up on 2 hours, I think. So there goes my plan for 2 shows. You stretched out your 2 shows into one. So congratulations. I did that.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
Totally.
So I got a list here before we go.
Okay.
That was from IMDb. It is the best cartoons of the 80s and 90s. Do you want me to share this with you and we go through it together? Like, just
yes,
through,
totally. We got to rock and roll on this.
Scroll through and see like highlights that you want to see. Let me see. Let me get this to you over here.
Okay.
Because I'm sure you're going to see some that matter to you that I probably didn't watch, and vice versa. So.
All right. Let's go through this. Why does everything have to have an animated movie in the background?
I know for me, He-Man, Masters of the Universe, that was another big one for me too.
My cousin loved He-Man. I wasn't so much into it, but I loved the movie, which is probably heresy.
Yeah, that movie was absolute horrible garbage, but it was so good. It was like it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Dolph Lundgren was a fucking great He-Man.
It was. He was perfect. And it's one of those things like you think back on and you watch it and it's like really cheesy. And have you watched it recently?
Yes, I had a similar experience this afternoon.
It's Are you still hurting from the Turtles, or did you watch He-Man?
A little bit.
I don't know if you watched He-Man too, but
yeah, no, I saw that one recently. My cousin came up, and it was an old tradition we had when we were kids. Whenever he'd come up to visit, we'd watch it. We're like, oh, we got to do that old tradition again. If we watched it, we're like, I mean, I still feel that love from when we were kids, but woof.
It's got its moments. But for the most part, it's very cheesy and it's very like entertaining for
80's. It's entertaining 80's.
Yes, very 80's. There you go.
I didn't walk away like I did this afternoon. I was like, I still see why we loved it.
And I don't know if you noticed how much it reminds me of Star Wars. Like there's
totally
a whole bunch of like head nods and like stuff to Star Wars. Like I don't know if it's on purpose or what, but
yeah, like Emperor Palpatine Skeletor at the end.
Exactly. All right, so going down this list, anything stand out to you?
Obviously, the top two. I was a little bit older, but Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures were amazing. Amazing, and I love that they're doing a reboot of the Animaniacs, or maybe they already did. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I think it's out now. I think it's out there.
Let's see, Flintstone Kids. I never even knew existed.
Nope. Yep. Nope. I'm lying. Yeah, I saw their faces, and I remember seeing that. Yeah.
I don't think I ever saw it or watched it. He-Man I watched because my cousin was super into it. She-Ra, my other cousin was super into, so I watched it. Like looking back on how much I loved Conan considering it was pretty much the same creators, I think. I could be wrong, but it was probably the similar plots too. But yeah, Transformers, obviously, I did watch it. I remember enjoying it, but I remember friends of mine that were way more into it than I was.
Yes. Yeah, same thing for me. Like I had friends that were like real diehards for that.
Yeah, it was cool, but it wasn't something I obsessed over. Smurfs, my kids like more now than I did. Although I had Smurf glasses when I was 3, so I must have enjoyed it. Like there were little Smurfs on the side of my glasses arms. I don't remember that though. Snorks? What the hell is Snorks? Do you remember that?
No idea.
A pup named Scooby-Doo. I remember Scooby-Doo. Tasmania. Yeah, obvious. Yeah, no, I remember the Taz show. It was cool. X-Men the animated series was phenomenal. That's what got me into Marvel comic books.
Yep.
The first episode of that I had on a bought VHS, wasn't even recorded. Had an interview with Stan Lee at the beginning of it. And it was, again, another cartoon that was darker than you'd expect, and that one of the characters died in the first episode. That was a good one. Garfield and Friends. I loved the comic. I enjoyed the cartoon, but I couldn't get over that it was Peter Venkman talking to me every day.
Yes.
From the Real Ghostbusters,
I remember that.
Might we rewind? Captain Planet. I didn't get so into that because they played that whenever they didn't play an episode of Conan, and I was pissed off that they weren't playing Conan. at 6 a.m, I watched it. Man.
I was a fan. I was a fan of Captain Planet. It was one of those that I was like, I wasn't no like diehard fan, but I enjoyed watching it. I got into it.
You know what? I'm confused in that. I enjoyed that one, but when they ran out of Captain Planet episodes to show, they showed the Toxic Avenger cartoon.
Oh yeah, I remember that one too.
That one pissed me off. Or Toxic Crusaders, that's what it was. Oh, wow. That just brought back a whole nother cartoon I watched pretty religiously and totally forgot about till now. And it hasn't even hit the list yet. And that's Mutant League.
I think I remember that one.
It was based off like the Mutant League football game and Mutant League hockey. And I don't know, it was big up here. At least that took the Conan spot when that went off the air. Anyway, Pinky and the Brain, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I know I got a highlight here for Darkwing Duck. I
was going to say the next three, DuckTales, Chip and Dale, and Darkwing Duck. 1000%.
I know my wife is huge on Chip and Dale.
No, they were great.
Yeah.
No. Real Ghostbusters came in at 24. This list sucks.
Well, at least it's higher than Ninja Turtles, so that's something.
Higher than Heathcliff too. That's good. A lot of this stuff, as you get towards the bottom, was getting a little bit past my time. Simpsons, obviously, I'm not nearly as diehard as many people are about The Simpsons. I loved it when it first came out. South Park, obviously, like that hit, in my almost graduating from high school. I thought it was hysterical. And I catch an episode now and then, and they still manage to stay like poignant and funny.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Man. Are you gonna say that we went this whole thing without talking about Batman the Animated Series?
Yes! Yeah. I was literally just going to say, how the fuck did this end at 46? Like, that was an incredible cartoon.
I loved. There's so much there too. Freaking Mark Hamill and the Joker.
Mark Hamill Joker, yeah. Holy crap! Who's voiced the Joker pretty much ever since then?
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I remember Sonic.
Okay, now we're getting into celebrity deathmatch. They're really digging into the bottom of the barrel. No, it's. I have some issues with this list. I think they just listed every cartoon that came out in that era.
Yeah, there's no like obscure like Duckman. Do you ever watch Duckman?
I did watch Duckman. Was Dr. Katz a therapist on here as well?
I don't know. Was it?
And that was like, oh no, but they have The Critic. I enjoyed The Critic.
The Critic, yeah, I remember that one. I remember watching that.
That was funny.
Yeah.
All I remember from that is it's the same guy from League of Their Own that when they bruised the hell out of me.
I'm sure The Critic is one of those cartoons that you watch and you watched it and you liked it, but
you didn't understand why.
Yeah, it went right over your head.
I kind of want to watch that now because I feel like that was layered and funny for adults.
Yeah. Did you ever watch here's the last two and then we're gone.
All right.
Because I had like a little list here going. It's not a cartoon, but Fraggle Rock.
Fraggle Rock, of course. Yeah. Christ, now you're making me rethink. When did that come out?
That was long. I remember I used to watch.
That was in 70s, right?
Yeah, something 70s, 80s. I know it was when I used to watch it. I think it was on HBO.
Yes, yeah. And I think I remember I loved it.
Oh, there you go. Look, 83 to 87.
Yeah, so I was like 2, but I loved it enough to where I remembered the theme song after it went off the air.
Yep.
And I actually have a video of my oldest daughter at 8 months old dancing to it because my wife and I were talking about it. We're like, oh my God. And we put on the Fraggle Rock intro and she thought it was the greatest fucking music she ever heard at 8 months old.
Fraggle Rock.
That's awesome.
And although that makes me remember my favorite Christmas movie as a kid, Christmas in the same vein, cartoon / puppet animation. This one might blow your mind, but My cousin and I watched this over and over. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Nope, never heard of it.
Damn! There's not
Never
many
heard-
people
yeah.
who have. It was a Jim Henson production.
Mhm.
It was one of the first things they were able to actually like, build a whole set for, and actually have the puppets move around and stuff. And the music was awesome. Especially if you like, blues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it just as a theater geek, you'd really appreciate the finesse of it. It was a mini series that wound up getting like replayed over and over, and eventually released on video. That's a great one to like watch. And again, if you take in the context of the times, like that was ahead of its time. It was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I never heard about that one. You're gonna have to send me a link to look at something on it.
Yeah, totally.
All right. So yeah, that was Reboot. Reboot was the last thing that I used to watch. It was some heavily computer animated where it was inside a computer, like the people were living inside the computer and in there and
Fighting the virus.
Viruses will come in, and that would be like the thing that they had to do and fight and all that.
I watched the hell out of Reboot.
So,
I loved Reboot.
all right. I think we're done. I think we probably would have fit in more if there was.
I feel like we
didn't
went
spend
in a
more.
way you could divide it into 80s and then post 80s.
Yeah, or like here's the Ghostbusters show.
Here's the
and
real
then-
Ghostbusters episode, and here's everything else.
Yeah. Well, I'll see where it cuts off and see. But if not, then I hope everybody enjoys this episode of the Talking Place, where we deep dived into many a show, and hopefully everybody listening they got a good trip of nostalgia, and they want to go watch Ninja Turtles now. And
I sure
I
had
know
fun.
that's well, I am glad that you had fun. I had a blast. I appreciate it very much. Al, if you want, go ahead. I know you mentioned it a few times already, but go pimp your stuff. Let everybody know where to find you all the time on the regular and everything.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, follow me at RetroRentsL and follow at the RetroRents on Twitter. You can catch our show, retrorents.podbean.com. And we're on iTunes. We're on all the major, podcast outlets and all that stuff. I tend to do a lot of weird deep dives in the stuff. And Nick and I, my co-host, we're hardcore geeks from way back. And really, the whole show is us doing what we used to do on our lunch breaks. And now we found a way to do it. And we're, 2 states away.
There you go. See that you're living the dream. Well, I'll have all your stuff linked in the show notes, and I'll have
Thanks,
man. Send me a link of that one episode that you were talking about with what was her name, Christine Marks.
Oh yeah, the Christy Marks episode.
Yeah.
2 seconds, I'll get that for you before I split. But yeah, I think if you enjoyed a lot of the cartoons I talked about, she was the lead writer on that, and we were really lucky enough to sit down and just get a great interview with her. She was super cool. The interview was so much fun, and she's just an awesome person.
Yep.
So yeah, I hope you all check that out.
Yep, I'll have that linked and along with all the other stuff. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much for joining me, Al, and for everybody else, have a good week. Stay safe. Wear your mask. All that good stuff.
Yeah, thank you, man. This was a lot of fun.
Yep, agreed. All right, peace out.